Hello, welcome to Framingham High School class of 2024. It's great to have you. My name is Mr. Lagan. Welcome to our virtual assembly, our first assembly as a class. Typically, we would be in the auditorium where it'd be a lot of energy, there'd be a lot of nerves, and people would be it would be a lot of fun. But unfortunately, we have to do this virtually. It's the best we're going to have to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to some key people. I'm going to give you some tips on how to find success at Framingham High School, and then we're going to be done. Okay, so the first things I want to point out is right here. That's me. I'm Mr. Lagan. I'm your vice principal. We'll be together for 4 years. You can see my phone number there if you want to get in touch with me, and my email also if you want to get in touch with me. My Twitter handle's on there, although I hardly ever use the Twitter account. I'm going to erase my face here because I want you to be able to see what's on the screen from starting from here on out. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to erase myself there, and then we're going to continue on with the slides with this slide presentation. Here's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about the first thing, the things that I like to talk about in order for you to find success at Framingham High School are the 3 A's. And those are attendance, attitude, and advocacy. Okay, so let's take each one of those in turn. All right. So first one, attendance. Now, I'm not sure if you know this, but Massachusetts, if it were its own country, has some of the best teaching in the world. Okay, so the schools are among the best in the world. According to multiple tests that they give throughout the world, Massachusetts usually ranks either 3 or 4. United States, not so much, but Massachusetts on its own ranks really high. Framingham High School in the state of Massachusetts, it has some of the best teachers ever. Okay, and you'll see that once you're in classes with them. However, no teacher can teach an empty desk. Okay, so good attendance goes hand in hand with good performance, good grades, and so you need to be here. Okay, and when I say here, I don't necessarily mean in the building. Although once we get back to the building, you're going to have to be here. But it also means being in class remotely as you move on. Okay, so that's attendance. You got to be here. Okay, all right. Attitude. At FHS, we try our best. Okay, we will all have challenges that we have throughout our 4 years here, but we take those challenges as opportunities to learn. That's how I approach things, and that's how we are going to approach things as a class. Attitude also has a lot to do with being respectful to yourselves and to others. So this is something you have to keep in mind. Okay, we are respectful of Framingham High School. Okay, and advocacy. The third of the 3 A's. So advocacy is just a fancy word for when you make mistakes, you ask for help. Okay, everybody throughout their life, multiple times, makes mistakes, screws up, and they always need to ask for help. Okay, here's a big secret I'm going to let you guys in on. Teachers, administrators, people who work in schools have gotten into this job because they want to help kids. That's why people got into education in the first place. So take the opportunity to get to know your teachers, take the opportunity to get to know the people around you at Framingham High School so that when you do make mistakes, we can help you solve them. Okay? So that's the 3 A's: attendance, attitude, and advocacy. I'm going to be talking about those more than just this one time. Okay? So keep that in mind. All right? All right, let's move on now. I'm going to give you as your first challenge is to get involved. Students who make connections to their schools do much better than students that do not. Okay, so even if we are remote to begin with, we're going to continue to try to run clubs. So we are asking you to get involved. Okay, it doesn't matter what you decide to do as long as you do something with which to make connections. So that's your first challenge. Okay, and I know you can do it. Okay. All right. Now, to start off the year, one thing you want to keep in mind is, as you know, we are remote. Unfortunately, I'd rather be in person. I'm sure you would rather be in person as well, but we have to be remote. Keep in mind that you need to log into your classes. All right. So, in the spring, when things went south here because of COVID, there was a lot. Things were really lax. I think you would recognize that things were not as smooth as they could have been. Students got credit when they did the bare minimum of work. Things are going to be different now. Okay, so now as we're remote, you need to participate in your classes. You need to do your work in order to get your credit. Okay, and we are going to be tracking attendance. So if you are absent from the class, say you have to take care of your younger sibling, or if you have to help your parents out translating, or you have to do something where you can't be in class, you do need to call the absence line. Okay, that's the number there on the line on the screen. Call the absence line so that you can um, make sure that we know why you were absent. Okay, while you're on screen, please be aware of your background, be aware of your dress, and your demeanor. Okay, so um, you can't see my background out right now, but in my office, make sure that you are don't have anything in the background that can be offensive or that can set people off. Okay, remember we're in school, so dress appropriately. You're not at a beach. Or you're not sleeping, so don't wear pajamas, don't wear bathing suits, and so forth. And your demeanor, we're respectful, we are friendly. Okay, and that goes to the last bullet as well. We are courteous and respectful. You'll find that when we do come into school that we're beyond courteous and respectful. At Framingham High School, we're actually friendly, and so you're going to see that as you come. Okay. All right. Now, most of you are coming from middle schools. How is Framingham High School and how is high school itself different from from middle school? First, in the high school, you have more freedom, but with that freedom, you have more responsibility. The high school is not set up like the middle schools where you have teams of teachers all looking out for you. Okay, I don't want to say you're on your own, but you have a lot more responsibility to take care of your own problems, your own situations, more so than you did in middle school. Okay, now that for a lot of people can be very liberating. It feels very much more mature because we're treating you more maturely. But please remember that this means that you have more responsibility as well. One thing you need to keep in mind is that you need to pass 5 credits to move on from freshman year to sophomore year. Okay, you are all scheduled for 7 credits, but you need to pass 5 in order to move on. The vast majority of you will receive all 7 credits. Okay, so keep that in mind. 1 credit is 1 school year of a course, right? So 1 credit of English, one, when you finish that at the end of the year, that'll be 1 credit. Okay, so that's something that you absolutely need to keep in mind. If you want to think about this moving forward, you need 22 credits by the end of your 4 years to graduate. Okay, and if you did the math really quick, 20 if you pass all 7 credits, that would be 28 credits. A lot of students end up doing that. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, finally, unlike in middle schools, you do need to have a cumulative GPA of a 70%. All your grades averaged together need to be at least a 70 in order for you to participate in sports and extracurricular activities. Okay, so keep all of that in mind. All right, those are the basics that you need to know as you move forward in your high school career. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to transition to some key people at Framingham High School, some of whom you are going to get to know very well, some of whom you may never interact with, but it's good to know who they are. Okay, so the first person is Principal Banach. Okay, you can see her there. That's Principal Banach. Okay, so other key people at Framingham High School. Moving on, we have Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stewart is the Dean of Students. That's a brand new position. He is going to be working closely with me and Mr. Kanovich as we help students sort out situations when they make mistakes. You can see his phone number there if you have a question for Mr. Stewart. Okay, Associate Principal Mr. McGilvery. If you have questions about if you have a 504 plan, he's the person to go to about those questions. He also organizes the MCAS at the end of your sophomore year when we do cross that bridge. Okay. Excellent. Moving on. Let's move on to your counselors. Okay. We have 5 guidance counselors for the class for 2020. The first one is Mr. Childs. He is the counselor for all students with last names A that begin with A through DE. You can see his phone number right there. If you have a question about your schedule, he's the person to talk with. Next up, we have Miss Jones. Miss Jones is the counselor for students whose last names begin with DI through Lee. Same situation. You can call her number if you have a question about about your schedule. Next up, we have Miss Donovan. She's the counselor for last names LEF through PIP. Okay. She also speaks Spanish. If you need to talk to her in Spanish, you may. Miss Monaco is next. She is counselor for last names PIQ through Z. And finally, we have Miss Ramirez. She is the counselor for all ESL students. Okay. And she also speaks Spanish. So these are the key people. These are the counselors. If you have questions for any of them, she is the person to go to. If you are feeling you're having a hard time at home, you're having trouble with friends, you're having trouble with family members, or if you're feeling like you may be becoming depressed or whatnot, Miss Preziosi is the person to speak with. Okay, she is our ninth grade social worker. Her office is down near the counselors in the counseling, what we call the counseling suite, D109. And she is really a good person to get to know. You may have seen her in the video we sent of the tour. And we also have Miss Bodette. She's our ninth grade nurse. If you have medications or if you're feeling sick, of course, you go to the nurse, right? When you're here in person. But when you're also here in person, if you have to take medications, she is the person to go to. She is the person that can help you administer those medications. If you do have medications, you must give those to the nurse because that's the way we dispense with medications. Okay? All right. Um, Another super key person is Miss Hendry. Miss Hendry is the grade office secretary. She's right out of my office in the room F120. When you did the tour, it's on the opposite side of the building of the main entrance. But Miss Hendry's awesome. She's been around for a while. She's a good person to get to know. When you become an upperclassman, you can become an office aide, and that's a great time to go and help her out in the office here, and just do the tasks that she assigns to you, and also just kind of shoot the breeze and get to know her. Okay, we have a place called the Academic Development Center when we are in person. And this Academic Development Center is run by Miss Harrison. She is also a biology teacher. And the Academic Development Center is a place where students tutor other students. So if you're having a difficult time with, say, biology or math or history, you can go and get help, get tutored by people, by other students, juniors and seniors usually, at the Academic Development Center. Moving on, if you're interested in sports or whatnot, you have a question for Mr. Spear. He is our athletic director. You can see his number right there. The athletic director deals with all issues that relate to the MIAA. The MIAA is the Massachusetts Interstate Athletic Association, Interscholastic Athletic Association, excuse me. Anything to do with athletics, he's your man. Ms. Donovan is, this is important for you to know. We have in each grade has a steering committee made up of a president, a vice president, a treasurer, a secretary, and an executive anchor, and they direct what's called the steering committee. The steering committee is a group of students and two teachers. Miss Donovan is one of them, and the other is Miss Lavrosky. Right here, she's also a math teacher. And what the class advisors do is they help the steering committee plan events, raise money, so that you guys can have really cool end of your career events at Framingham High School. We run all kinds of, well, of course, the basic is the prom. There's also a boat cruise and a cotillion. But there are also other activities that students do. You might organize a movie night, or you might just kind of get together. Anyway, these are the teachers at Framingham High School who are the ones that are helping this out. If you went to any of our question and answer sessions, Ms. Lavrosky and Ms. Donovan were two of the teachers that were taking care of those. Okay? Important for you to get to know them. All right? Okay, we're going to move on to the other administrators in the building. The vice principal of the class of 2021, the seniors, is Mr. Convery. The vice principal for the class of 2021, the juniors, is Mr. Albright. He's in the same office here with me in F120. And then rounding out the top is the vice principal of the sophomore class, Mr. Kanovich. Okay, these are the people that you're going to see around the building. The four of us have walkie-talkies. We're in the cafeteria in the morning and cafeteria in the lunch. Again, once COVID is over. Those are the key people in the key events at Framingham High School. Remember the 3 A's, attendance, attitude, and advocacy. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm really excited for this year. It's going to be a great year, despite the COVID and everything else, but we're going to have a great year. Okay? I'm going to sign off. If you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with me, and we'll be seeing you soon, either virtually or in person. All right? All right, folks, have a great day.